Mahmoud Abbas, he's the president of the Palestinian Authority. He called on Hamas to hand over hostages as well as the control of the Gaza Strip. He actually referred to Hamas as sons of dogs. He called for the terror group to end the matter, to end the war as a whole. But at the same time, he called for the defense of the Palestinian cause and the end of what he referred to as Israeli occupation of the Gaza Strip. And all this comes after a phone call yesterday between President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So what can we expect and what can we make from all of these latest developments? Well, I'm honored now to be joined by Congressman Keith Self. He's a member of several House committees, including the Foreign Affairs Committee. He represents the 3rd Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Self, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to have you.
Thanks. Thank you, Jody. Great to be here.
Well, listen, I haven't been able to tell you in person, but I hope you and your family had a wonderful Easter. And again, thanks for joining us today. So let's start with what can we gather from President Abbas's plea here? Is this a serious attempt for peace in Gaza and the Middle East?
No, this is the expectation that Israel will defeat Hamas, and he is angling to be the leader of the Palestinians inside the West Bank and in Gaza. So that's all this is. It's a power play. But let me tell you, when he calls Hamas sons of dogs, from my time in the Middle East, I can guarantee you that is a brutal takedown. That is a brutal insult. So he is simply saying that I want to replace Hamas in controlling the West Bank and now the Gaza Strip. That's all he's saying.
All right, so great insight there, and I thought the same thing when I saw his reference to Hamas as sons of dogs. I mean, I know enough. I've been over there as well. That's you can't go much lower than that. So, what would it look like for there to be a leadership change in the area?
Well, he tells us from that statement that he expects Israel to finally defeat Hamas. Israel has gone back into the Gaza Strip. Insiders, people who have been over there tell me it's not being reported right now, but Israel is taking very strong measures against Hamas in Gaza Strip today. We're not hearing a lot about it, but they are. So he expects Hamas to eventually be defeated. Now, what Israel does with the Gaza Strip, we don't know. I believe that they will keep the corridors, both the Philadelphia corridor and the corridor through the center of Gaza. And so what the PA, the Palestinian Authority, believes that they can do is move in and actually control it. You may remember that he also said something about stopping the deportation of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. So he expects there to remain, for the Palestinians to remain in the Gaza Strip. He simply wants to be the leader.
Wow. All right, so let's move from there to the phone conversation between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. President Trump says that the two of them are on the same side on every issue. I mean, they discussed a lot of things. They discussed things like trade and Iran and other things that have not been disclosed. But I would think, at least, and I love your opinion, that probably the bulk of their conversation consisted of Iran. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that's probably what they spent the majority of their time on. And I think that was the message that they were both trying to send. President Trump will always try for peace, and he's trying that with Iran now. But should that peace fail, you might note that the press secretary said, the spokesperson said, he is committed to Iran not getting a nuclear weapon. That's the headline. President Trump, while he's trying for peace, he is also committed to that Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. And I can guarantee you, he and Netanyahu are certainly agreed on that.
Yeah, so at the same time, I find it very interesting, and while all this is going on, the Israeli Air Force has prepared for a possible Iranian strike. I mean, they're having some of these prepared strike practices, if you will. What do you make of all of that, and how does that impact all the discussions?
Well, they expect there to be some sort of conflict between Iran, Israel, and the U.S. That's what it tells you. They are trying to do better in their defenses. They're trying to make sure they've got everything right for when this happens, because they know that Iran will fire missiles at Israel. All it is practicing for the real thing. I think that we will probably see that, because I don't see the Ayatollah as bending, and I'm not sure that he wants peace. Remember, Iran still wants to be the big dog in the Middle East.
Yeah, you got a lot of folks vying for that position for sure. If I can, Congressman Self, let me shift gears with you and talk about the deportation efforts that President Trump has been involved with, and specifically as it relates to the courts that have stepped up and have been consistently blocking some of his efforts to deport some people who really have no business being here, some violent criminals. What do you make of the president's comments yesterday, really going after the courts?
I agree with him. I think we are totally out of whack with the Constitution. Our founder said that Article 3, the judiciary, would be the weakest branch in our government. Congress is the legislative branch. We make the laws. Article 2 is the executive branch. The president runs the executive branch. He does not report to Article 3, the judiciary. And they're making it sound like he reports to them. They can tell him what he can do. That's entirely wrong. These are rogue judges. They need to say what they think. Two things. First of all, what Congress intended in the law that they wrote, and two, is that law constitutional? That is their duty. It is the duty of the president to execute the laws of the land as the Congress wrote them, as the rules are written by the directorates and the agencies, although I think they ought to go by the intent of Congress. But the judiciary is totally out of bounds constitutionally. The president does not report to the judges. I think that we need to realign the Constitution, that the judges are the weakest branch. They simply write their opinions as to what Congress meant, and is it constitutional? The president, though, particularly in foreign policy, executes the laws of this land.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you put that forward, because I think there is a huge misunderstanding, and I agree the courts have seemingly and increasingly stepped up into an area that they don't have the authority to do. Now, we've only got about a minute left. You posted on X, and I wanted to bring this up, that some judges actually have been harboring some terrorists. What is that you were referring to?
It was a minor, I think a magistrate in New Mexico, who actually was letting a known terrorist live in his house. They have gone to the range together. They fired weapons together, knowing who this person was. This is totally almost unbelievable, unfathomable that that a judge in New Mexico would allow a known terrorist to live in his house, to take him to the range, to shoot weapons with him. This is beyond the pale. It's beyond the pale.
Congressman Keith Self of Texas, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, as always, on Washington Watch. Keep the torch ablaze.